aufgepasst, 1 Minute verloren. Ja, wir sind da unten entlang, durch den Maschinenraum, waren 2 Typen mit Pistole umgenietet, weiter geht's auf dem Oberdeck. Oh, das ist
Right about then, much to my relief, the
Wie
vigilantes
ist der
finally
da
arrived.
hochgekommen?
Their leader
An mir
motioned at a
vorbei.
cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons. I finally had them, after months of dogged pursuit.
The Breach.
But it turned out that they had me.
Take him out!
Ja,
I'm sending you to hell!
das war ja klar. Wie soll der auch an mir vorbeigekommen sein?
The Daltons had played
Not
me
so
like a
tough
fiddle.
after all, is he?
Apparently, the vigilantes were on their damn payroll. They didn't just want to shoot me. They wanted to burn me alive. But finding my way out of a burning labyrinth proved to be quite a challenge.
It was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean liner.
Well, yeah, but I was in a
Did you
fight.
hear about that ship that's gonna launch next year? Largest one in the world.
We're talking about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed good. I don't think it'll even float.
So anyway,
Don't be stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic is unsinkable.
oh God,
But getting back to that steamboat,
Auf
how'd
the
you
Horn.
get off it, Mr. Breeze?
I took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. But somehow I managed to finally disembark. It was time to settle this once and for all.
Someone kill that bastard!
Killing spree.
This is crazy!
Too damn close.
Doch keine Gang mehr, das ist eine scheiß Armee, was die hier haben.
Bob and Grant weren't about to come at me one at a time. They were in this together. Two brothers side by side, determined to take me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side.
Toll. Ist das ein scheiß Geficker? Also der rechte zieht zuerst. Muss ich den anvisieren. Hand ein bisschen näher. Der Colt. Ich glaube, hier muss ich unfair sein. Ich meine, hallo, was ist denn das? Bisschen runter, bisschen hoch, nicht zu viel. Links und rechts. Fokus.
They got it wrong. A sad end for those two. If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds.
So, scheiß auf
Paroled
Ehrenhaft. Ich
14
hab
years
gewonnen.
later. He moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. And the tragic death of his two brothers. My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told. It was 1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch.
Tja, Gauner sind wohl schlechte Verlierer. Kein so großer Eisenbahnraub. Oha, dafür aber großes Chaos dem Bild nach. Ein Eisenbahnraub muss dabei sein. Ist ja ein Western.
I'd been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn
Wieder kein
Mountains.
Pferd, mit dem ich hierher gekommen bin, ja.
Led by Butch Cassidy. They were a loose association of outlaws
Start
who
immer mit der
robbed
Waffe,
banks and
aber
trains
nie
from
mit meinem
Colorado to
Lieblingswort.
Montana.
Was hab ich immer die
Among them was
Ranger-Waffe?
the Sundance Kid, and that murderous hombre
Ist die
I was
besser?
tracking, Roscoe Bob Bryant.
Were you a part of that giant Pinkerton posse after the Wild Bunch?
No, boy. A circus like that would have slowed me down. Besides, I wanted Bryant all to myself. I'd heard about a large shipment of gold being transported to Wilcox, Wyoming on the Overland Flyer. I figured the Wild Bunch would likely hit such a treasure, and by God, I figured right. They blew the bridge with the intention of forcing the train to stop.
What? Das war nur ein kleiner Schritt.
Well, I assumed the Wild
Sehr-
Bunch was likely in the still
okay.
intact part of the train high
Das ist ja
above.
der Weg.
So I had no choice but to make my way up through the
Sagt
passenger
nix,
cars
war
dangling
blöd.
down. I was determined to make that sumbitch Bob pay for what he did to my brothers.
Mal gespannt. Oh, die schöne Dampflok. Die kriegen die hier nie wieder weg, hey. Müssten sie zerlegen und in Einzelteilen hochbringen. Oh, ich habe wieder Punkte. Aha. Dafür gibt es bestimmt ein Achievement. Nein? Gibt's keins? Okay, vielleicht wenn ich alle drei habe. Aber Kimbo habe ich eigentlich keinen Bock drauf, das zu lernen. Schon mit Gravur, mehr Reichweite, weniger Rückstoß, mehr Schaden, mehr Zielgeschwindigkeit. Und hier drüben, das ist eine Schrotflinte. Okay. Nahkampfwiderstand. Die vierte feindliche Kugel aus einer kurzen Waffe prallt von dir ab. Ist eine kurze Waffe Schrotflinte und Pistole gemeint? Oder
My ears are still ringing from blowing up that
abgesägte
bridge.
Schrotflinte?
What'd you say?
What do you
I made my way
Nothing,
off
you
unscathed and
What
came
the
upon a few
hell?
members of the gang and had no choice but to dispatch them. From there, I had to negotiate an even more precarious route. But first, I would need to get my ass out of
Ich will
there.
meine goldene Pistole haben. Springe auf den Zug, okay. Mit mehr Anlauf dann aber.